is up, Pewter Peeps? Welcome into the Friday episode of the PewterCast presented by BetUS.com. The PewterCast, the number one spot for all things Tampa Bay Buccaneers, news, analysis, takes hot and otherwise about your defending Super Bowl champions. I am Steve Carney. That is Ren Dax. Ren, happy Friday to you. How are you?
Happy Friday. Happy early Friday. It's all
Yes.
came together. It was like it was like a Keystone Cops trying to herd cats all week between the three of us, but
Seriously.
we got it together somehow, and here we are.
Absolutely. And it is Friday, which means it is Prediction Friday. And of course, we're going to be using for our predictions the lines from our great sponsor, BetUS.com. And joining us from BetUS to talk lines here before we get into the weeds with the Buccaneers and the Miami Dolphins is our good friend Barry Barger from BetUS.com. Hello, Barry. Happy Friday.
Hello, gentlemen. Happy Friday. As I talked to you earlier, mine didn't start off so great, but
no, it did not.
It's all downhill from here.
Yeah, or it can only go up from here. Let's we'll put the positive spin on that. But yeah, a rough morning for Mr. Barger here. He spilled the smoothie on his laptop. Nothing like protein powder in a MacBook Pro on a Friday morning to get.
I hope it makes it stronger.
Yeah,
maybe that's what, my Mac's gonna just grow.
There you go. Absolutely. Before we get into the lines, let's get one thing out of the way, and of course that not only with the PewterCast being brought to you by BetUS.com, but we also have another great sponsor with us this week, and that is of course Manscaped.com. Manscaped, of course, is the place for men's grooming, and of course it's autumn, and we're gonna have the holidays coming up. Thanksgiving is coming. Christmas is coming. Great time to get the man in your life a Manscaped Performance Package. And then the Performance Package version 4.0 has the lawnmower version 4.0, the brand new version of their men's grooming razor with the ceramic blade and the wireless charging and the longer battery life. Plus, you get the Weed Whacker, the ear and nose hair trimmer. You get their crop duster, ball deodorant, their your crop toner as well, and a couple of great free gifts along with the performance package, including a pair of those Manscaped boxers, which are fantastic. And you can get it all at a discount thanks to the PewterCast. Go to Manscaped.com, use the promo code FANSIDED20, and you can get 20% off of your purchase with free shipping as well. Again, Manscaped.com, promo code is FANSIDED20, and get 20% off your order with free shipping. Manscaped, your balls will thank you. So as we get into,
so will your women.
Yes, that's the truth, especially if you're someplace warm and tropical, like say Costa Rica, right about now.
Yeah, it's like, I'd say Costa Rica.
Absolutely. So let's get Barry into my first question. I am a beginning gambler. I don't do it a lot. I tend to get kind of angry, especially when I lose. I'm one of those guys that, the wins aren't nearly as good and the losses like eat at me. But for me, I want to ask you as a novice, what's something that, because I'm doing awful this year. I'm 1-8 against the spread in 3 weeks. And I'm curious, do you see like beginning gamblers trying to get too cute, or are they trying to, manipulate the system? Like why do beginning gamblers always start out so poorly?
Well, let me ask you this. What they do a lot is they will stick on just favorites and overs. Is that, so you've got to, okay, no. So, but when you look at a game, you got to figure out, when you're getting 3.5, that's
Mhm.
huge in the NFL. If you can get 7.5, that's huge in the NFL. So
Yeah.
you got to almost double think like this is going to be a blowout or this is going to be because in the NFL, any given Sunday is a phrase that pays. And
Mhm.
so when you can get over a field goal, over a touchdown, those are key numbers to really take advantage of. So that's something you look for. You also look for, you know, simple things like defense against, like say, how's this defensive line compared to this offensive line? Are they going to get to
Mhm.
the quarterback? So, I mean, these are simple things that there's tons of access out. And seriously, on BetUS in the locker room, there's so much information there. So there's write-ups on every game. That can help you for one thing. It'll at least give you the information, even if you don't like the side that they're picking.
Yeah.
They give you enough information for you to make your own decision if you like. There's also write-ups on all the teams, all of you know the trends, everything. It's really a one-stop shop. So that can help. It's being informed. It's really like and it's simple stuff. Offense versus defense. How's their D? How's their pass out? How do they compare? That's a good place to start.
Mhm.
Instead of just, oh man, I love the Bucs every week. So it's like this week they're 10. That's a lot of
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
And
It's a boatload
so
of points.
it's something to you got to double think about. And so
Uh, I always think it's funny. Like last week, I'm like, oh, look at the Saints. They're on the money line -330 at home against the New York Giants. I'm like,
right,
come on, they're playing in the
easy money, right?
Superdome.
Yeah.
They're playing the Giants. I should have no problems there, even if I'm only putting down say $100 to to be able to make it $133, and nope.
Nope.
Or $130. Nope.
Nope.
gone,
Nope.
gone, gone.
New Orleans they need to pass more. I mean, they're trying to
Yeah.
keep the clamps on Jameis, obviously, but at a certain point, that hurts your offense, and that's what it's doing. So they have to make some changes there, and just give it to Alvin Kamara every play. Is what I would
Mhm.
do. Be
I
start.
need no help. I'm
Yeah, he's
undefeated. I
yeah,
haven't
he's a
lost. I have not lost. I'm like 8-0 or 11-0 on
yeah.
BetUS.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, um, I'm going to be coming down there to Costa Rica to live in your spare room, Barry, and start my career
I got one.
as an expert, as a
There
booking
you
expert.
go.
As long as I only have to do 3 a week.
It's,
But
that's
anyway,
it.
let's get into it. What are you looking at? What do you like? Help out our listeners, our viewers here. Something they might not have seen. On the that jumped out to them on the BetUS website.
Right. Well, I'll start with one that nobody's gonna, most people aren't gonna like because it's an under, and it's in two of the big powerhouse offenses under. It's Buffalo and Kansas City. I like that under
Wow.
56.5. Yeah, I know, but so Buffalo's defense is real. They've had two shutouts the
Yeah.
last 3 weeks, and the Kansas City running game has actually come to life. So last week and so I expect them to establish the run more. I expect both teams to do this, and because this is such an important game, I think this is more of a strategy game that will keep you know, the beginning a little kind of like the beginning of a boxing match. Where they're kind of feeling them out. I think this is going to be a little lower scoring than you think. I think this is 56.5. It was 57, came down a half. And I think it's still. I think this is going under. This is probably a 24 to 27 game, something like that. 24,
Mhm.
23. And so it's unders are tough to bet because you can always lose, especially with two powerhouses like this. But I believe this is the game that plays out that way. Buffalo lost to them both games last year. Those were two of the four losses that Buffalo had last year was to Kansas City.
Right.
So they'll be doing some deep strategizing and some and they have some insight. They've gotten better, and some could say Kansas City has maybe gotten a little worse. That the rush defense is really bad, so that's why I think that Buffalo will do the same. I think they both are going to try to establish the run, which burns that clock, which makes the over less likely to happen. So there's my start. There's one that most people aren't going to probably agree with.
I was looking at an under, but I just couldn't convince myself to take it. Pittsburgh can't score. Bridgewater's back, but at the time he possibly wasn't. I was looking at. I know it's only 39.5. I didn't take it, but I looked at that one real hard for a while because, like most people, and like taking the under, it just doesn't sit right. It just doesn't feel well,
especially in the 30s, right?
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god. But yeah,
and two great defenses though, Pittsburgh and Denver. So, I mean, that's one I would consider. But like you, it's just I kind of get cringy when
there's got to be something better out there. There's got to be something better. I feel better about.
I mean, if you're gonna take an under at 39.5, why not take the under of New England and Houston at 39.5? Because you can basically guarantee yourself that New England's going to score 35 points because Houston can't score a point at all.
I like that thought process. I like that play too. I like it better than the Denver Pittsburgh play. Under. So that's a great one. And what? Go ahead.
I won the under last week on the Houston Buffalo game, even though Buffalo scored 40. I'm like, and they had the ball, and I'm like, no.
The goose egg.
Yeah, it was a goose egg. And I also took your advice last time we talked about a prop bet. How you say Baker Mayfield's always going to throw an interception. I took David Mills throwing an interception. Won that one too. I was actually looking for a prop bet where it'd be two or more.
I know. BetUS usually has like the different extremities of props like that too, which is really kind of cool. The two or more, I kind of really like that on a few of these quarterbacks. Mayfield, Jared Goff. And I'll tell you what, as far as an over goes, so the early morning game.
Yeah.
Early morning game over in London. This is an over with Atlanta's, I think they're ranked like 27th, 28th in defense.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to be, and the Jets their defense just got the crap beat out of them last week by Derrick Henry. The Tennessee had like 90 plays or something. And that just takes a wear down on you. So I just think that, I think that's the defense is tired. And I think both teams, this is one of those kind of ugly overs, not really like kind of, but, listen, at 45 and Atlanta, they can score. They got Cordell Patterson. I can't believe how he's popped out of the woodwork. I have Ridley and Pitts in my big fantasy football team. Right?
Oh.
That hurts, right?
Are you in one of those now? My former co-host on the radio used to be in this big fantasy football league with a bunch of former athletes, and like they were in a league where you had to have guys inactive for like 3 or 4 weeks out of 16, which was so you really like you couldn't play a guy for all 16 games. He had to sit 3 weeks on top of his bye week as well. Like they really made it. And this was one, I think he was in it. I want to say it was a 14 team league. And I think the entry fee was 10 grand to get in, but he was in there with like guys that were, former professional athletes. So they threw around 10 grand like it was nothing. Right. And he won that league, I think, 4 years in a row, and so he never had to pay for it again. Like he wiped the floor with them. It was always great to watch. He always came in. I knew it was the day that the league was over because he came in and was throwing money around. Like it was not, like he would buy me lunch. I was his update anchor. He would buy me the most expensive. I'm like, you must have just won the league, didn't you? He's like, yep.
Oh, that's perfect. I mean, like that's like at BetUS, some of those props. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you tell him to start betting some of those props, and then when he hits, you meet him the next day, and he can spend all that BetUS
Oh,
money
yeah.
on you for lunch.
Yeah. I wish I still worked with him. That would be
Oh,
the
yeah.
best part about it. So,
Wow, 4 years in
I
a
mean,
row is tough.
yeah. I mean, I couldn't believe like when he won back to back, it was like, you got to be kidding me. And then he won
Right.
and then he won 2 more times after that. I'm like, come on. Like, what are you? And of course, John Smoltz, the former Atlanta Braves pitcher, was in that league, and he used to call up all the time, just like, he's cheating. I know he's cheating, like just to
Yeah.
mess with him. It was
I can relate.
always so much fun.
I've heard that before from people.
So,
Yeah, like people love to talk smack.
oh yeah,
And
great stuff.
I tell you what, in this so this Tampa Miami that I started to touch on about there's so many points. See, they have they're the top quarterbacks that are hurt. They've
Mhm.
given up the most pass yards, pass receptions, and touchdowns to wide receivers in the NFL. And so Miami's going to score. And Tampa's going to score. So this over, I like more than the side.
Mhm.
Because the side scares me a little when it gets to 10. And
What's
it gets
a side?
side, like just betting either the team or the over under. Like the side is the side of the team. Like
Yeah,
like
taking
you're betting
Miami or taking Tampa.
Miami plus 10 or Tampa minus 10. Yeah, that's what it is right now. And the total, it's 48. 7 touchdowns, and that's over. And I mean, I really expect Tom Brady to put up a bunch, and Miami can put up some points on Tampa because of their depleted secondary. Truthfully, I don't think Tampa loses this game, but I mean, with 10 points, and this is what scares me because you also got your backdoor covers that are available that can happen. Which if Tampa's up 2 touchdowns, and it's I mean, like, defense, they start to lax a little bit, and they let that late touchdown happen that makes it only a winner by 7, and then the backdoor covers just crush me when I'm watching them because I can see the defense just laying down like what. And it's just like, I'm like, play to the end, but so many don't. So backdoor cover's real, especially when you get points like 10, 13, 14. Those are all dangerous numbers to lay in the NFL.
All right. So we've looked at a few games. Do you have you said your favorite yet, or what else do you got for us? Like,
I tell you what, my favorite of those is actually the Bills and Chiefs under, which I hate unders.
Okay.
So it must be a really good one. Like I said, I just think this is a down the trenches kind of a strategic game, and especially the first half. I mean, that'd be a great under to bet because I think while they're kind of feeling each other out, that they actually keep it low scoring while they're kind of, they're trying to establish the run, they're trying to burn the clock, they're trying to own the clock. So that's the way that game's going to go. I'm pretty sure. So, excuse me, and I like the Chargers -2 against the Browns too. I mean, Baker Mayfield he hasn't sold it for me. He played good first 2 games.
Do not like Baker Mayfield.
I just look at how he's played the last 2 weeks, especially last week. He started off pretty well the first 2 weeks, but on the Chargers they have a tough defense, and so there's at least throws 1 interception bet to make. Those props won't probably come out until Saturday, but the Baker Mayfield throws an interception to the Chargers. Oh yeah, that's a good one, and that could be the difference that makes Chargers win by 3 or 4, and they're only -2 at home.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was looking at that one.
Yeah.
So
side on that one.
Steve and I have our picks locked in. Should we give them to Barry to get some feedback on what he thinks?
Sure. I'm all about that.
All right.
Okay.
So my 3 this week, Barry, I was looking at the morning game, And the fact that both of these teams are heading, have headed over already, trying to get used to this, but it's still a 9:30 a.m. Kickoff, and I'm sure most these two teams will probably want to stay as close to Eastern time as possible to try and minimize the layover coming back. So I personally like Atlanta only given the 2.5, so you're not at the full field goal. So I did take Atlanta and minus 2.5. I think it probably will get over that field goal stretch because let's face it, the Jets are no good.
Right, and they're coming off like a big upset,
Yeah,
really. So there's a
absolutely.
letdown. They're going
Yeah.
across the bit. I mean, like I like all that.
Okay.
Definitely. That's a
I also took Baltimore. I know it's a full touchdown as opposed to 6.5, or going the other way at 7.5. But I just think that for Baltimore, I think the matchup is
and
what does it for
I'd
me.
say get it now because by Monday night, I mean
It could be
I would guess that goes to 7.5, which is
7.5.
dangerous.
Yeah.
And Indy's just they've been hurt. They've been
Yeah.
Wentz is you're playing on two sprained ankles.
Yeah. Two bad ankles.
Two little hooves.
Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly. So yeah, definitely.
And
yeah,
and the other one that I got is Tennessee and Jacksonville. I took under 48.5. I think that if Urban Meyer has lost this team, they're not gonna want to play. And if you got one side that doesn't want to play, that under makes sense more than taking a side.
It makes total sense because they could 100% not show up and get shut out there. This could be a 17-0 game.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm with you on all those. I mean, and with points you made plus more. Yeah, so that's I think you're gonna end your bad streak. You're gonna catch on fire this week. I'm telling you.
I think Connor, haven't you won like one of these bets in the first?
Yeah, I'm 1 I said I'm 1-8.
Changing this week. Get on my picks too, though. Come on.
All right. Yeah, I'm definitely looking Buffalo and Kansas City. Then we'll definitely hit that.
All right. I have discovered this wonderful thing called a teaser.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I did it last week, and I teased two teams, and I used those. It's kind of like it has to hit for both of them to count. If one of them misses, and they both miss, in our little competition here. But so now I'm gonna either win all three or lose all three this week because I did a 3-team teaser. I think the Jets are gonna win the game in London. So
plus you're getting plus 3.5, so that goes to the.
Well, I moved it. I moved it to 9.5.
Oh, you did
I did a 7-point. Yeah, I did a 7-point teaser push, and then
9.5.
Then I flipped the Green Bay game from Green Bay being minus 3.5 to plus 3.5.
Awesome.
And then I teased Dallas down to just win a 0.5 point. Just beat the Giants.
You're doing some of the basic principles there that you've already applied. So is getting over those key numbers like the 1, 3, 4, 7, whatever you can.
Right.
And going from 3.5 on one side to 3.5 on the other side is huge. So and another game that would be good to do this is see the Monday night game with Baltimore, because if you tease that, you're down to pick them out of 7, and so all they have to do is win the game, which.
Right.
Gee, come on, right? I mean, seems like stealing. I don't know.
Right, yeah. And then the more teams you put in, the more your odds go up. So if you tease like the Baltimore-Dallas game and put them both down just to pick them, basically, because you can tease Dallas down to, 0.5 point. Well, you can't win by 0.5 point, so you just need Dallas and Baltimore to win. Yeah, so that's when I discovered that teaser thing.
And BetUS offers all those different teaser numbers too. You can do 10 point. You can do
6
points.
Exactly. And it's not just 7.
Really
it can be like
you
can tease it 3 points and you make more money, or you can tease it 5 points and make a little less, but you know, it's wherever you're comfortable at. And when I found that thing, I'm like, oh man, like like
Right.
like I feel like I can't lose. Like,
Yeah, but watch out. You're
oh
doing the
yeah, I
right thing
will.
of
Oh
getting
yeah,
over those key numbers. You know,
right,
it's like taking advantage of the 6 or the 7 point keys by like with Baltimore getting down to pick is huge. And
right,
like you were going from 3.5 minus to plus on one of the
right.
that's so those are some applications that you don't just pick teams and just do it. You pick those games that you can overcome those tough numbers 1, 3, 4, 6, 7. As many
Yeah,
as you
you
can.
teased through 5 key numbers.
Right?
That one, that's ridiculous.
Hey, wait till you
7.2.
tease Baltimore Monday. Wait till you tease Baltimore Monday night, Steve. I'm telling then you're going to tease through all those numbers. I mean, and at BetUS you can tease a Monday night 2-teamer. Like you can go Baltimore over, and then you're only over whatever 7. If you go 7, then you're only over 39.
Yeah.
No, wait, you can tease.
You can tease
And then
totals
that-
too.
Yep.
So it changes the under over totals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh
Yep.
my god.
Yeah, man. Hey,
Red's
Brett,
Red's
I'm gonna
gonna
win
I just
so
opened a
much
whole
money.
new world at BetUS for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna win so much money.
Ren's gonna quit his job. He's moving to
Right.
Costa Rica. That's all there is to it.
I'm
Come on
Yeah.
down, guys. Come on down.
filet and
There's
lobster
plenty of
tail for
food.
me for the rest of my life.
You bet.
And Ren can cook, so
True.
Perfecto.
That's true.
Awesome.
All right, Barry. It's been a pleasure as always,
Yes, it's been a
man.
blast.
Yeah,
Been-
it's
been a
always
great time
fun
with you guys,
talking to
too.
you.
Yep, for
Go
sure,
ahead and
man.
tell everybody where they can find you and
Yep.
anything that's going on
Yep,
that
and, at BetUS, I mean, like I said, use the code so you get 125% bonus to start off if you haven't yet, and also follow us on our social. Like our general is BetUS_official, and then we have BetUS_NFL and all this. Since we, but we have Instagram, Twitter. We have like 8, 9 Twitter handles. So get on and follow all of them because we do specials, promotions. We give great information there too, and then we'll throw out some of the articles that are really great from our locker room that for the key games. Every Monday, Sunday night, all those games are going to be on Twitter with a quick write up, and then you click on it and read the article. I mean, there's tons of information in that locker room, guys. So at BetUS, I would say check that out. Take advantage of the bonus now while it's still cracking.
Yeah, I actually follow BetUS NFL on Twitter,
Oh, cool.
and they're
Awesome.
always putting out something on every single game.
You bet.
Yeah, there's a nice breakdown in every single game. It comes on your Twitter feed. If you're not interested in the Vikings game, then don't click on it. But if you're like me, like I was kind of looking, like I said, on the under in the Broncos Pittsburgh game.
Right.
And it pops up on my Twitter feed, then it's like, hey, we're going to break down the Broncos Pittsburgh game. I click on it. I give a little watch, adds a little more information. That's actually why I didn't bet it. And now talking to you, I'm glad I didn't. But yeah,
It's just
so
a tough one.
it's just a tough one. But
And
I'm
it
going
could be turnovers for points. If you get turnovers that score 14 points, then you can get hosed by that. That could happen.
Yeah, that's what that's why I always try to avoid. I always try to factor in at least a touchdown off a turnover. Or
Sounds like you're doing okay. 8-0 or whatever. Kind of crushing.
Yeah, 8-0 or 11-0.
I'm 11-0 in BetUS. The first week we did this, what I bet on BetUS was not what I bet on the pod. So they're like what I said on the pod. So I think I lost.
You lost 1.
I lost 1.
Yeah, you're
The
8-1.
week.
You're 8-1 on the pod, but 11-0 on BetUS.
Yeah, because there's bets that I make up. Because I have 2 other bets on BetUS this week that that I didn't talk about. So.
And also for your Bucs fans, for the Bucs game, I mean, you got all the individual team. You got team props and player props. You got Brady over on passing yards, touchdown. Check it out. There's so much to be had there. And like I said, a lot of times props don't come out till the day before or the morning of sometimes.
Right.
So just wait for those.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what the prop is for TV. How many times TV mentions Tua Uh, is it
Yeah,
is it
right.
is it over or under a dozen?
Over.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
if it's a
take the
dozen,
over.
I'm taking. If it's a dozen, I'm taking the over.
For
All right,
sure.
Barry.
All
Be
right,
good, my
gentlemen.
friend. We will talk to you in a couple of weeks.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
All
Barry.
right. That is Barry Barger of BetUS.com. And again, use the promo code PewterC125. Barry mentioned it there. BetUS been around 27 years doing this, paying big money to all of their clients. You've heard Ren talk about he's 11-0.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a novice and I need to work on my game. And BetUS is helping me work on my game, especially now. So again, 27 years. They've got NFL, college football coming up here next week. As a matter of fact, the NHL gets going. The NBA is going to get going here very soon as well. And you can bet on those games. You can bet on UFC matches, PGA rounds, and of course, Ren's favorite, the ponies. You can bet on the ponies as well. Go to betus.com. Use the promo code that you can see on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, it is PewterC, PewterCast without the AST, and then the number 125. And again, you get a 125% sign-up bonus if you use the promo code. So you sign up, you deposit $100, you get $125 in bonus money. So that gives you $225 to play with. It's that simple. Again, betus.com, the best way to help the PewterCast out. You bet, you win, you get paid with betus.com.
Yeah, so I've turned my $50 investment into 400, 500, 600, 700, over $800.
How's that?
Yeah, in 4 weeks. I just bet football.
I'm telling you,
NFL
he's
football.
gonna stop. He's gonna stop working. He's gonna only bet football from here on out. It's gonna
That's
get
right.
to that point. Ren's
I have to bet so big so I can live during the off season too.
yeah. Well, then you just moved to Costa Rica.
There you go.
Everything's cheap down there. You're Barry say that.
Yeah.
So again, BetUS, that it is the best way to support the PewterCast is to sign up through the promo code and get some extra bucks in your account there to play with at betus.com.
Speaking of the Bucs,
Yes,
or Bucs, the Bucs,
The
play
Bucs.
Dolphins.
yes, they do.
1:00, which I'm thankful for, which means that I can't work a morning or afternoon shift, so I get the whole day off.
Nice.
So that's good. Instead of running home, with an hour to spare, jump in the shower, come out, and like maybe I missed the kickoff.
Yeah,
But so that'll be good.
that'll be good. It's good for me because the Rays game isn't until I want to say 7:00 that night. So
Yeah. No,
that's
I think it's a
perfect for me.
4:00 game, isn't it?
Is it? I thought. Oh no,
That's-
that's right. They don't play Saturday. They're off Saturday. Yeah, it's a 4:00 game, but I can miss the beginning of the
Yeah.
baseball game.
Yeah,
It's
that
in
was
Boston.
something.
It's
Oh,
in
that's right.
Boston.
That's right. No credentials.
Boston.
Boston.
Yeah, definitely no credentials. especially not in Boston. This is actually Boston Marathon weekend.
Oh,
too.
is it?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
Oh,
ugly.
wow.
I wouldn't want to go to Boston anyway. And I'm from New England. I would stay the hell away from Boston on marathon weekend. It's ridiculous. All right, so let's get into I think maybe the two biggest pieces of news involving the Buccaneers come out of the secondary. One of them has something they had no control over, and the other one is probably something that they saw coming that unfortunately now they're going to have to deal with, and that is the fact that Carlton Davis was placed on injured reserve
Yep.
with the quad injury, so he's going to miss at least the next 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
And the other piece of news, we kind of got into it on Wednesday because it came down on Wednesday afternoon, but we didn't talk about it then because we want to save it till now, is Stephon Gilmore. The thought that maybe they would take a flyer or take a run at Stephon Gilmore from the Patriots, but instead he goes to another NFC South team, the Carolina Panthers, deal for him, and they give up a draft pick in 2023 in order to get Gilmore. So I want to get your thoughts on both of those things first.
If there was only somebody out there who was telling NFC South Nation that the Panthers were the second best team in the division before the year started,
I wonder who that was.
could there have been somebody out there who was telling everyone?
I wonder who that is.
I wonder who that could have been. Obviously it hurts a little.
Mhm.
I've never been one to. No, like I said, obviously it hurts a little, but because another team gets it doesn't mean like the Bucs didn't try, or it doesn't even mean that they're interested, or it doesn't even mean that New England would even trade him to the Buccaneers, or like there's so many things you don't know. So I know there was a lot of I don't want to say pushback, but outrage on Twitter that not only Bucs didn't get Gilmore, but he went to an NFC South opponent who just happens to be tied for the league and the division with us. But there's some things there. Now it's been a handful of years since Gilmore did win defensive MVP, and then he wasn't playing that well last year before he got hurt. At least not up to his status. And he is 32 years old. So all those question marks you have about Richard Sherman, you should have about Gilmore as well. So just because, he's there and it looks like he'll be eligible to play week 6, and of course that'll be plenty of time for him to possibly be there against the Buccaneers, because we play the Panthers, I think, 2 of the last 3 games.
Yeah.
On the schedule this year, it doesn't mean that they've got the Stephen Gilmore of the defensive player of the year. So just keep that in mind. It has been a few days as sort of the ruckus has settled down. Everyone sort of went back to their corners and started focusing on the Dolphins game. But it's weird that I feel like this Dolphins game is completely being overlooked because it was such. Everyone had to talk about the return of Brady, to New England for another like 3 or 4 days. And here we are, it's Friday, and I don't feel like anything's really been asked about to the coaching staff or the players about the Dolphins like at all.
Yeah.
There was one that was asked about Brady, but it was like, you play with these guys at the Patriots. Like, hey, this guy was your coach. Hey, this guy was your backup quarterback. Hey, this safety, was on your team. It wasn't anything about the Dolphins. It was more New England, angled view questioning. So this game's kind of flying under the radar for the Bucs. But to answer your second part of the question with Carlton Davis, I mean, at least it came at the best time of year it could, because we got Brissett, and then we got like Fields, and then we got Jalen Hurts, so it's, and I think Buccaneer fans are going to be very happy that we have Richard Sherman. And since Gilmore can't even play till week 6, he'll get another week to improve and get out there and show people what he can do. I mean, he had he didn't have a pass breakup, but he had 7 tackles and he had a fumble recovery. So, I mean, it's not like he wasn't a liability out there. And you heard him in his press conference, this week. It's like, my legs were jello. It was just like, the plan was for me to play as long as I could. Then they'd rotate me out, let me catch my win and go back in. And then he saw Carlton Davis go down, and he goes, well, guess I'm playing a whole game. And, he went out there and gutted out and played well. Like, I wouldn't say he played bad. He played well at times, I should say. But I thought he did his job, and I think Buck fans are really going to be glad to have him this year. This game, I should say. But yeah, losing Carl Davis is a bummer, but I'd rather have I think this 3-game stretch, if this was like Rams, Patriots, Falcons, Cowboys,
Yeah.
like maybe they would have like, okay, we need you. You're like, we'd rather have you at 85% out there than not have you. But having these sort of, non-prolific passing offenses come 3 weeks in a row, it's like, well, I'd rather have you 100%. And we, 4 weeks from now, than have you maybe like at 70, like you're declining 2 or 3% every every week until we get to the bye week. And get you back a little more healthy. So I think the schedule went into part of the decision of benching Carlton Davis. I mean, it stinks, but it's the best possible scenario. If you're going to lose him, now's the time to.
Yeah, speaking of good possible scenarios, Bruce Arians is right now on the podium talking, and he had just mentioned that another cornerback is going to play this week, and that's Jamel Dean. Both Dean and defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul have been ruled by Arians as good to go for Sunday's game against the Dolphins. That's a huge boost to get Dean back on the other side of Richard Sherman. I think is going to,
which is kind of funny to say.
Yeah, it really is. But
like when Dean's your savior, it's like that old adage, like depth in the NFL is really great until you need it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. But I do think that at least getting one of your top three corners from the beginning of the year back is a big boost.
Yes.
As is JPP. Let's face it. Anytime that you can add to the pass rush, it helps out the defensive secondary. And so the more rushing you can get, I think that could be huge.
And be able to move JPP inside as sort of that 5 tech and have Tryon line up outside him on, obvious passing situations. I think that's probably a package that the Bucs, would like to have. And instead of, using Vita Vea as a bulldozer, even though it worked, having those two long, lanky, bendy guys playing next to each other, and of course JPP can stand up against the run and stuff if they try to do those things at the 5 tech position. So it's going to be interesting to watch, especially since the Dolphins' offensive line appears to be in shambles.
Yeah. If you missed out our conversation from Wednesday with Paul Pickin from On the Fin Side podcast, definitely go check that out. But yeah, the thought process and a lot of the conversation on Wednesday was about how the Dolphins offensive line is offensive in the wrong way. Because it's not very good at all. And
they're flipping tackles, they're moving guards to tackles to guards. Their second round draft pick, they don't know where to put them. It's just and he even talked about their scheme where it's part of it is just leave the edge defender unblocked, and I guess your hope is the quarterback gets rid of the ball before he gets there. Like that's the offensive scheme they're sort of drawing up right now in some plays, and that's the scheme that got Tua broken. Again, like the Bucs defense came through against the Patriots against sort of an offensive line that has really declined since the retirement of, was it Joe Gilbride? No. Who was the guy that was there forever that always patched together and made this great offensive line for the Patriots? But anyway, he retired, and since then, the Patriots' offensive line has just sort of started to slowly decline and fall apart. So I expect the Bucs defense every bit to get heavy pressure, and matching that 5 sack total they got Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if they hit that too.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Couple of other guys that we kind of expected were going to be out have officially been ruled out as well. Rob Gronkowski will not play again this week because of the broken ribs and the.
Will we see OJ Howard?
We might see
catch a ball.
Howard. Could we see OJ Howard maybe catch a ball for the first time in a couple of weeks?
Right.
Also, Antoine Winfield will not play in a game. He has not practiced at all this week. He has been in concussion protocol and has not gotten out on the field. So I would think that he probably misses this game. And because the next game is a Thursday night game, he probably misses that game as well. And then you have a week and a half, I think, after that, or maybe even longer after that, before you get back out on the field. So I would think that this is probably 2 games that you miss Antoine Winfield and Patrick O'Connor,
right,
who has not played, who had not practiced this week either, will also not be available for this game. I don't think I don't think those surprise us at all.
No.
Certainly don't surprise me.
No. Maybe Kyle Trask dresses
That could be pretty interesting.
because of the people that would they do Trask? You think they do Trask or would they do Nick Leverett? Who would they dress?
If I'm gonna dress anybody, I'm gonna dress Trask. You know, you might be able to go that route.
Let him
No
let him
word
return
on
punts.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. that would be hilarious. Yep. Go, Kyle. You're on punt return.
You're on punt return duty. Making hurt his
Gonna-
abdomen.
Gonna be like, we'll try and make him the version of Taysom Hill. Gio Bernard, that's the big question mark. Nothing has been said so far today by Bruce
Hasn't been
about
ruled out, so
actually
that's
I take that back. So I see he says that Arians says this is from Greg Allman of The Athletic. Bernard looks fine as he returns from his knee injury. So if that means that he looks fine and he is getting better, or if he looks fine and is ready to go, I think are two separate things.
Yes, it is. So, yes, it is. So we shall see. We shall see. I have to get to work. You have to get to the ballpark.
I have to get to the ballpark. You have to get to work. We do have to give our predictions for the game, though. We've already given our picks for BetUS.
Yes.
And neither of us took the Bucs this week. So
no Bucs bets this week. 10.5 was too much. I didn't trust the under over. We can't really do prop bets on the show because they're not out yet. They don't usually come out, like Barry said, till the day of the game.
Yep.
Or late Saturday night, things like that. So, So we've done our bets. So our predictions. I think the Bucs win. If it doesn't rain, which it hasn't like in 2 weeks, I think it's a nice, warm, early day. Not that it will affect Miami. I think it will just make the Bucs feel better. And I think the Bucs kind of win this one going away. I feel a mistake-ridden Dolphins game coming on here. The offensive line is going to be leaky. Their cornerback Jones may not play. Byron Jones may not play opposite Xavier Howard. And that would be a big blow to them. So, we'll see if the Bucs decide to run the ball like they did last week, but I don't think they're going to run it as much because New England played like 6 defensive backs and dared them to run the ball. That's the reason they ran it so much. But yeah, it's just one of these games that I'm just not used to as a Bucs fan. It's just I'm expecting to win. Ho hum, let's see what we do. If we win by, I think 10's the magic number. I think Vegas did a really good job on the point spread in all these games this week.
Yeah,
nothing sort of stuck out like really okay. Maybe the Pick'em game, Denver, Pittsburgh, but when that line was made, Bridgewater wasn't clear, and it looks like he's gonna play. We'll see if the line moves on that, but I think it's an easy peasy, nice lazy day, and by 5 o'clock, everyone will be all happy and fat from wings and beer and having boat drinks. So I think this is a walk in the park for the Bucs this week.
Yeah, I tend to agree. This says 34-21 to me a lot. So. I think that's probably going to be close to, I think you don't want to lay the 10, but I think this is probably one that you probably want to look at teasing down under 10 if you're using BetUS.com. Tease under 10 and
get it under 7.
Make it happen.
Get it under 7.
Get it. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, tease it down under a touchdown and be good to go. So
tease it to 0, make no money whatsoever. Bet $1,000, make $6.
That's right.
But you won.
No. That's right. It's a win. It's a win. All right, let's
win.
Let's bounce. Give us the run addiction, Ren.
Best place to find me is on Twitter at @ThePeterCast. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football, but if you think your take is too hot and don't want to put it out on their Twitter sphere, feel free to slide in my DMs. I'll talk Buccaneers football with you there as well too.
Yes, and please do so. You can follow me. I am at Steve Carney on Twitter and Instagram, stpete9.com for your Rays coverage under the Orange Roof podcast. I'm doing new bonus episodes after every playoff game. So there is fresh
Is that
content
because
there.
you don't because you don't get to cover it?
No. I'm there. I'm
I know you're
there,
there.
Ren.
I'm just getting under your
this
skin.
at least for this
If people
series.
don't know, the MLB has told Carney he does not get credentials for the championship series or
And
the
the
World
World
Series and the World
Yep.
Series, even though he's been there every single day,
Yep.
all year long. So
Yep. I'm not the
But
only
if-
one out. I'm not the only one outraged about it, but I'm gonna try and grin and bear it, and try and do my job as best I can. Sitting at home watching the press conferences from the house.
yes,
Such is life.
yelling questions at the TV.
Oh no, I'm texting Mark Talkin at the Times.
Kevin, excuse me, right here.
Oh,
Steve Carney under the orange roof.
Yep, stpete9.com. Oh no, I'm gonna text PR people. I'm like, if I have a question, I'm gonna want to ask it, and whether it's on the or you just hand Kevin Cash your phone and let me ask the
Taking
question.
phone bids like at
That's
an
right.
auction.
Damn straight. That's how it works. You're gonna mess with the.
$200,000 from the man on the phone.
That's right. You know what they say. You F with the bull, you get the horns.
All right, I gotta go to work. Let's go.
All right, go to work. Until next time, or until I should say Sunday afternoon when we are live taking your reaction here on the Pewtercast. Go buck yourself.
Go Rays.